Okay, we are all set, we are live.
Okay, it's a little after 7. This is the Inland Conservation Advisory Board meeting, Monday, July 24th. We're going to call the meeting to order. I'm vice chair. Fire exits are out the door and to the right, or out the door and then to the left. There is an AED across the hall if there's any need for that. If anybody has cell phones, pagers, please turn them off or put them on mute for the duration of the meeting, please. Cheryl, would you call the roll?
Janine Clark,
Here.
Clark Mahaney,
Here.
Carrie Whipple,
Here.
Louis DiVincenti is excused, and Steve Rutherford is absent.
Okay, first item, I need the approval of the June 28th, 2023 meeting minutes from the Conservation Board. Has everybody had a chance to read them over? I don't think we can approve them because Carrie wasn't here last month, so we don't have a quorum. So I'm going to skip that. We'll bring that up if you can do a reminder to bring that up again next month's meeting. And I'd like to note that the public forum is open for the duration of the meeting. First thing I'd like to cover are the planning board minutes from July 5th. Was the day after the 4th of July. It was a Wednesday because of the holiday. There was one public hearing at the planning board meeting, and it was for a single, single lot subdivision application for Dan Zerino, Joseph Heatherly, 530 Morton Road. And they were seeking a single lot subdivision to build a new home. It's in the RBL. Total acreage was 33.56 acres. The public hearing was opened. No one spoke at the public hearing. There were no concerns from the attorney, no negative comments from the board. So a motion was made and carried to list this as an unlisted action under seeker, and a motion was made to approve the application for the single lot subdivision at 531. On the agenda, there was a conservation corridor development permit for Eric Peters at 101 Weiler Road. The site plan shows a proposed site for a dwelling that's close to the conservation overlay. So it was recommended that you get a conservation board development permit to bore underneath the wetlands so that they can tap into a sewer line. Eric Peters would still need to apply to the DEC when he's ready to proceed with his plan. The attorney had no concerns, and the board had no concerns, so the conservation corridor development permit was granted. The next thing on the agenda was also a conservation corridor development permit for Kevin Chick, 34 Lake Road, East Fork. He's looking to replace and extend an existing deck, and this is within 100 feet of Sandy Creek. He has received a DEC permit for the work, and he applied for an Army Corps of Engineers permit also, and there were some delays for that, so he has not yet received that. Yes.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Yes, he has received the Army Corps letter,
Okay.
and he has received his permit now to work.
Okay, wonderful. But it did pass LWRP inspection, and it is consistent with the policy of the LWRP. And I did that, maybe I listed this one. I did that site inspection. And it looked good, and actually was a nice improvement to the property. The last thing on the agenda was a special use permit for Thomas Calandrillo, 660 Walker Lake, Ontario Road. He was seeking a special use permit approval to operate a landscape maintenance business at 660 Walker Lake, Ontario Road. He's proposing to build a 36 by 40 foot pole barn to house the equipment that he needs for his business. This is his second appearance before the planning board. We had to submit a proper site plan to show the building and drainage and so on. There are no customers that are going to come to his property. He now parks his equipment on the stone area on the south side of his existing attached garage. He's also proposing a new driveway and has to apply to the DOT for the permit. So a public hearing was scheduled for him for August 7th. Under discussion, there was an application that was not under the agenda, but the applicant and the representative were present, so the chairperson agreed to let them speak. This is for lot 2 of the Beverly Soames subdivision, and this is on Morton Road. The engineer was there present to present to the board. They've been waiting for the state to delineate the wetlands, so a house can be built on the property. They did miss a meeting because that was not ready, and so they felt that they should have just been tabled and not forced to resubmit their application. So the board agreed to that, and they have scheduled a public hearing for this application for August 7th. And that was the end of the planning board meeting. Unfortunately, Steve Rutherford is not here to report on the Fishing Advisory Board or the Environmental Management Council meeting. I believe that doesn't start up again until September anyway. So Clark, do you want to go right ahead with the town board meeting?
The regular town board meeting, July 10th, 2023. First off was resolution 183. It was that's a negative declaration of environmental significance. Introductory law 5-23, 223, amending chapter 454, article 6, trailers situated outside of parks or camps. Paragraph 454-5 of the code of the town of Hammond. And by adopting this resolution, the town board of the town of Hammond declares itself to be the lead agency with respect to the consideration of the adoption of the proposed local law, and that the town board finds and determines such legislative action as a type 2 action, and as such is an action that will have no significant adverse environmental impact, and this resolution shall be considered a negative declaration pursuant to provisions of the CEQA. And that the town board may take further action with respect to such proposed local law without further regard to CEQA. And that motion was carried. And then there was resolution 184, the resolution and final order of introductory law 5-2023. And what that was enactment of the local law as a type 2 action. And the town board, Hammond, by adopting this resolution, hereby enacts introductory law 5-23. And it defines more what camping units are, campsites, house trailer parks, parcels, tourist camp, travel trailers, and trailers. And that motion was carried. And resolution 185, negative declaration of environmental significance, the introductory law 8-2023, amending chapters 454, article 6, trailers situated outside parks or camps. Paragraph 454-22 of the code of the town of Hammond. And by adopting this resolution, the town board of Hammond declares itself to be the lead agency with respect to the consideration of the adoption of the proposed law. That the town board finds and determines that such legislative action is a type 2 action, and as such is an action that will have no significant adverse environmental impact. And this resolution shall be considered in that declaration. That the town board may take such further action with respect to such proposed law without further secret. And that passed. Resolution 186, resolution of final order in Directory Law number 8. And that, find exactly what. It talks about the storage of trailers, the storage, lodging, or parking of any unlicensed trailer, including but not limited to automobile trailers, house trailers, mobile home, or camping trailers, or boat trailers, either within or without the structure or a building permit is permitted, provided that such trailer is unoccupied and is not used for sleeping or living purposes, and provided that only one unlicensed trailer is parked or stored on any premises outside an existing building, and provided that the trailer shall comply with the setback requirements of chapter 520. A licensed camping unit, house trailer, travel trailer may be stored on any parcel of land that is owned by the same individual that owns a said licensed camping unit, house trailer, travel trailer, or trailer, and being stored on said real property. That motion, I believe, passed. I did my notes. Yes, it did. Now, number 9, Directory Law number 9. Was tabled. That was the resolution. Resolution number 87 was tabled that. That was about no person shall occupy or park for use any house trailer or mobile home within town of Hamlin except within the boundaries of a house trailer park or a tourist camp. That was tabled because of needed changes for the old public hearing on August 14th at 6 o'clock. There was also the local law number 7, the negative declaration was tabled and the resolution was tabled, and that was to have to do with the chickens. And that part of the public hearing was quite voiceful. I mean, it was filled, the whole place is filled. I mean, a lot of people here.
Have a lot of opinions about having chickens.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about it and having different thoughts about it. That's why there needs to be another public hearing, because there were some things that needed to be changed. Plus, I think there was a lot of misgivings and misunderstandings, and I think there still are. So
I know there've been a lot of variances lately for people having chickens,
Yeah.
so that's why they felt they needed to change the law.
well, the thing that they were trying to explain to them too is that it only pertained to, it was under 3 acres, wasn't it? That's not, pardon?
I think it's under 1 acre.
Oh, under what?
Where they have
acres?
10 chickens, 1 acre.
There-
It says 6 chickens, 1 acre with a license now, not a permit.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand, is it's saving them money if this goes through. Because it'll cost a lot less for Yeah.
For the formality, yeah, for the license and the variance.
Is the license renewed each year?
Pardon?
Is it renewed each year?
No,
Similar to like a dog
it's a,
license
it's
or?
a one-time
One time.
license.
They're gonna give it a public
Yeah,
hearing,
so
so,
figuring it out at it.
Now, there's another one, declaration of, state declaration of independence, no, it's not that. There's declaration of, environmental significance, local law to revise chapter 220, building code administration and enforcement of the town code of Hamlin. And it's the same kind of negative declaration. And then they have the resolution 192, approval of final order of introductory law number 6. And that was that the enactment of this local law is a type 2 action, and that it is routine and continuing governmental administration and management activity. And as such, the enactment of this local law may proceed without further regard to state permit. The town board of Hamlin, by adoption of the resolution hereby enact introductory law number 6, revising chapter 220 of the building code and administration of the town of Hamlin, New York, to provide as follows. And it says see attachment, and I don't have the attachment. I don't know about. Well, there's a lot to that.
I think it was like 33 or 66 pages.
Pardon?
It was either like 33 or 66 pages by him to change some wording.
Okay.
To make it
The building
official.
codes, yeah, yeah.
Then next was approval of budget and amendment for the library to pay for repairs to the AC unit. And increase account number LO 599.00 by $1,977.93, and increase account number L 7410.416 by $1,977, and that was carried. And then there was a approval of the senior citizens guidelines. The senior citizens voted to change the guidelines. And there were some minor changes, but they were all changes that needed to be voted on. And the seniors approved the guidelines. And the dog shelter had 15 calls, 19 Hamlin phone calls. Currently, there were 7 dogs at the shelter, 3 adopted dogs. And the Hamlin Dog Shelter was in the west side of Newark, so about that one dog that they had, and they were looking for a home for it. The history committee was going to meet on the 11th of July concerned with construction and camp kids coming at the same time on August 8th. So the town supervisor will call them and look into that, maybe getting changed. Need to start looking about the budget, and the process is ready to go. And Hamlin Morton Walker Fire District. Morton no longer uses the field, they're transferring it to Kendall, and I don't understand that. The town supervisor said they're busy with sewer line. They'll be putting notices on doors to remind people not to hook up yet. And there is a holdup on getting parts delivered. The recreation department. Sports is slowing down, maybe a summer league. Camp as a full group of 35 plus students. They're still working on cell tower work issues, and Solar Fields just got their permits. Quickly is estimated to be open in a couple of weeks. And volunteer appreciation night with Kaylee. Kaylee did a job with that, good job with that. And sent in advertisements for bids for the highway barn down on Railroad. And that's about it.
Must have been a long meeting.
It was pretty long, especially I was there for the public hearing too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, thank you, Bart. Carrie, you're going to be doing the zoning board meeting from July?
So there were two scheduled public hearings. The first one was Ronald Bragg at 1545 Walker Lake, Ontario Road. And he represented himself in front of the board. He wanted to add a third accessory structure to his property.
Sounds like you want to use it as a garden
Shed or just kind of for his garden tools. As he doesn't have room in his detached garage. There was no comments from the public hearing, and it looks like the motion was made and passed. The second one was Scott Caldarelli at 112 Ross Cove, and he was looking to build a 40 by 60 pole barn on a property without a previous dwelling. There were no public comments, and that was also passed. On the agenda, Jason and Tina Requa from 39 Cook Road were submitting to build a 30 by 40 structure with a lean-to. And sounds like they wanted to do it in front of the main foundation line rather than behind it, from my understanding. And so they scheduled a public hearing for the following month. Under the discussion, it was reported that the zoning workshop reviewed the current chicken code and the proposing licensing, which Clark just mentioned, and a public hearing was held for New York state codes to adopt the new ones, and the public hearing was held for the campers. So that was it.
Okay, thank you. For next month's assignment, I will not be in town for the planning board meeting, depending on what the agenda is, whether we're going to be in the conservation board. I will try to get in touch with somebody, maybe a couple from you, if it's necessary. Or maybe I can present comments to the board before I go. I'll look into it. I still got time. Everybody else okay with their assignments? Okay. Friends of Hamlin Beach, the Friends group does not meet, they do not hold a formal meetings in July or in August. So there's not really a whole lot to report. The Friends continue to help out with projects like weeding and mulching flower beds and things like that, but nothing major to report there. Shara, was there a zoning workshop?
There wasn't one workshop. And we just discussed, just all things that were of importance this month.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that looks like everything for the first part of the meeting, so do I have a motion to adjourn that first part of the meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Hamlin Waterfront, Committee, doesn't look like there's any referrals, although I did do, an inspection today at,
39 Cook Road.
39 Cook Road. This is the one that was looking for the zoning board to build a pole barn, in front of the front foundation of the property. It's a zoning issue, but conservation wise, it's in the LWRP and under the same issues, whether it's consistent. Under discussion, I came across this article that was in the July 16th West Side News. And the title of the article was Local Governments to Receive Bridge New York Funding. I'm going to read just one paragraph from the article. It says the Bridge New York program provides essential funding directly to local governments to enhance the safety, resiliency, sustainability, and reliability of local infrastructure, allowing more than 140 bridges to better withstand extreme weather events and keep New Yorkers safe. And then they listed which bridges in our area would be included, and so I highlighted the ones that are actually within the town of Hamlin. The first one they mentioned was several $7 million to Monroe County for the replacement of the Jacobs Road Bridge over Yanty Creek. And then $1.9 million to the town of Hamlin for the superstructure replacement of the Weiler Road Bridge over West Creek. $1.66 million to Monroe County for the replacement of the Moscow Road Bridge over Yanty Creek. And another 1.6 something million to Monroe County for the replacement of the Walker Road Bridge over Mormon Creek. So those four are all within the town of Hamlin. They didn't give any timeline, but apparently they are awarding these dollars to update these bridges, make them more resilient. Anything else anybody wants to bring up for discussion? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, everybody in favor? Aye. Okay, the meeting is officially adjourned. Cheryl, I can give you this article, I highlighted.
I like that.
I highlighted
Thank you.
everything I said.
I didn't even read that article, but did you, when you came into my office today, did you see what I had on my door? I had your picture with your friends.
All the friends.
I had it on my door.
That was a decent picture of me, I was surprised.
Is that they will be awarding that money, or it was already awarded and they've done it?
The awards were selected based on input from regional and metropolitan planning